As the Secretary said, we will let the facts lead us, and we will support the NTSB investigation and, of course, the Indian investigation as well, their version of NTSB. So that's what I've got on that right now, sir.
And maybe just to reiterate, if there are initial factors of concern in regard to safety, as the Administrator noted, we will be made aware and we will take action, because for us, safety is paramount. But whenever one of these planes go down, we take it very seriously and deploy every asset and resource at our avail to assist in those investigations. I'll just note that I just want to commend the FAA. Their team is readily deployable. They are ready at a moment's notice. They have a go bag. They have vaccinations. They're remarkable in how they operate. So kudos to your team. Thank you, Acting Director. Want to move to Newark, just to give you guys some background and where we're at and where we're going. Many of you know that we had a runway under construction. That runway, by the great work of the Port Authority, was completed almost 2 weeks ahead of schedule. That allowed us to shift and increase the number of flights that came out of Newark. Right now, we were at 28 flights per hour. We've now moved that to 34. That was able to happen after that runway was not just completed, but the FAA certified the runway. In addition, we had a telecom problem. You saw and reported on the outages. We had a 30-second outage a couple of times, as well as the scopes went down and had a reboot, so their outage was 90 seconds. Verizon has done great work, record speed. They've laid a new fiber line for us between the Philly Tracon that controls the Newark airspace and N90, which is in New York. They've made this a top priority. Though that line has been laid, we go through extensive testing at the FAA, so that line is not live yet. That line we expect in late June, later this month or early July, that line will go live. But we also had an issue with how our software program had a glitch in it. So that software at the Philly Tracon was remedied, was fixed, and things have been operating relatively smoothly at Newark. The third component of the problem at Newark has been controllers. We're understaffed with air traffic controllers. We're short 3,000 air traffic controllers in the country right now. In Newark, at the Philly Tracon, we have 22 air traffic controllers. We had several that were on leave. The FAA has deployed another 22 controllers to the Philly Tracon. Now, these aren't just controllers that are coming out of the academy. Most of these controllers had been previously certified in different airspaces. So we anticipate that over the next several months, on a rolling basis, these newly deployed controllers in Philly will be certified in the airspace and be able to fully function as air traffic controllers, again, alleviating the pressure that we've seen from a lack of air traffic controller employees operating the Newark airspace. So basically, we had three things, all three components from the runway to the telecom to the air traffic controllers. They're either completed or they're on the version of being completed. And I just want to take a note that, and this is no offense to the FAA, Chris, but they don't always move at the fastest speed. They don't always get the best engagement from companies that do business with them. And you see right now that we have CEO level engagement with all of these companies. They understand how important aviation is to the American economy, to the American flying public, to delivering goods around the country. And so because we've had that engagement and we've had great leadership at the FAA, you have seen problems that would take months or years to fix are being fixed in very short order. And I'm proud of that, and I think that's indicative of what you're going to see happen should we get the resources in the big, beautiful bill that's being debated right now, which I'm going to come to that in a second. But before I do that, I just want to talk about telecom. So most of our system is run on copper wires. Copper is old. Copper is inefficient. Most of the rest of the world and the country have moved to fiber. But because we're one of the last institutions on copper, our telecom providers were charging us obsolescence fees, and they were able to do that per their contract. No one ever questioned it. Well, we have worked with our telecom providers, Lumen, AT&T, Verizon, L3 Harris, and other smaller providers to get them to stop charging us the obsolescence fees. Now, you might not think that's a big deal, but it was running to the tune of almost $800 million a year in obsolescence fees. Not in total telecom, just in the obsolescence fees. And so a lot of the FAA budget was being depleted because, and it's not just FAA, it's not just telecom, it was in all portions of this really old system. A lot of our money is depleted in keeping old systems functioning as opposed to being able to invest in new state-of-the-art systems. And so I just want to take a moment and thank and commend our telecom providers for giving us this break, not charging us the obsolescence fees, because they understand how important this build is for the American people. And the money that we save by not paying that additional cash to telecom is money that we have to invest in fiber and the rest of our network. And so I want to thank them for that. In regard to the big, beautiful bill, this is important. This is the only vehicle that is running that can fund air traffic control, is the big, beautiful bill. I think it's actually the great, big, beautiful bill. The name changed today at the press conference, the great, big, beautiful bill. And in that, we have $12.5 billion that has been allocated for modernization of our airspace. And really important because what it's going to do is it's going to fund the transition from copper to fiber, right? So we're going to, and that's across the NAS, across the country. It's going to include radios and voice switches as well. In addition, it has money for brand new radar, all really important parts of how our navigation system works. We're working with the Senate right now because the guts of how air traffic control works, the hardware and the software of the system, we don't have money in the bill there. We don't have money in the bill yet for that, but I've had active conversations with the Senate. They understand the problem. We're discussing with them additional dollars so we can actually deploy this other part that's really important to our air traffic control system, to build it brand new, to make it state-of-the-art, to deploy every tool at our disposal into the air system, and again, make it more efficient. It's complicated right now. It's only going to get more complicated. Again, there's more need for more planes, more routes, but we also are going to have drones and eVTOLs that are going to be deployed into the airspace. And so I want to lend my complete support for the big, beautiful bill. Again, if this doesn't pass, we are going to do nothing on air traffic control modernization. If this passes, we can start this process right now. We just had an industry day, 2 days of industry day, where we have brought, we don't sell tickets, but if we did, it would be sold out. We had a lot of participation. This room was full. We had full viewers on our video link. But industry is getting involved, helping us think through whether we're doing it right. Do they have other better ideas for us? Getting feedback, pressure testing from industry on how best to deploy this brand new system and give us advice. And that went really, really well. And we appreciate their participation. But we at DOT and FAA, we are ready to rock. We are ready to go. We're just waiting for the money. And if the big, beautiful bill doesn't pass, we don't have the money. And we're going to continue to use the same system without any change that I think we've seen failing over the course of the last months, but also the last years. And so I would hope that the Senate and the House work together and they think through how, and I know there's a lot of other really important components of the bill, but for us, this is the most important, and I would argue that I think the American people would agree. Funding a modernization, a brand new air traffic control system is of utmost importance, making sure we're driving safety and efficiency. We don't get that efficiency. We don't have the brand new system without this big, beautiful bill passing. And again, I'm hopeful, and I actually feel really good about it, the positive conversations we've had with the Senate to have them put in even more money to get us this full rounded system that's going to make the American airspace the best in the world. With that, happy to take any questions you may have, and if I can't answer them, I'm going to pass them to Chris. Or if I can and I don't want to answer them, I'll pass it to Chris too. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, guys, on the air current. So, you're talking about potentially passing more money from the Senate. Do you envision that potentially being tossed up on money if they already appropriated, or potentially in another vehicle that will come later? I'm just kind of curious.
So, I need this in the big, beautiful bill. Now, I imagine there'll be more that'll have to come later as well. I would like it all in one lump sum. More will have to come at a later point. But we can start, if we get another $8, $9 billion, we can start a big part of this process. And then we can wait for another vehicle in the future to give us the rest of the money. But we have to be able to start and run all these different work streams. Again, telecom, radar, and then our common automation platform.
So just to clarify, you're effectively asking, correct me if I'm wrong, almost double what they appropriated initially, or $9 billion and $12.5, right?
Listen, we're going to work with them, but this next tranche is really important to start this process. And again, this is important, but we have to think through it, because we do need to rebuild some of our towers and our TRACONs. And we'd like another, the Senate version has one TRACON. We would like to have another TRACON as well, maybe even a third TRACON. But again, there's money. There's money to move around in the package that they're working on, and again, we've actively and aggressively worked with the Senate, and they get it just like all of us understand it. Yes.
So is that correct that we should think of this as you're looking for 12.5 plus another 8 or 9, so somewhere in the $20 billion range you'd like to see in the bill?
Yes, in the big beautiful bill. Yep. That's we want to see those numbers. And again, we can start if they don't give it to us. We got great work we can do, but we want a holistic approach here. And then after that, we'll have to come back for even more. Maybe it's a year and a half later to do the last phase of this build. But we are incredibly confident in the conversations we've had that we can do this on budget and on time. Again, there's a lot. The Congress does not have a lot of faith in the FAA. You just go back to Next Gen, and there was a lot of money that was spent and not a lot of deliverables. And I think if you look at what happened at Newark, you look at how fast we're engaging, the kind of involvement we have from CEOs. It's not just about their companies. It is in part, but it's about America. These are companies that care about the airspace, care about our country. They want us to be successful. You have a president that's engaged. You have a chairman in the House and the Senate, both engaged. You have never. This is a moment in time that you have never seen. This is the time to do it. And again, we'll start with what we get, which this start is really important. A little more would be even better. We'll come back and get the rest later if we have to. Yeah, just sure.
The Army real quick. So yesterday, the acting administrator and the Army and the NTSB briefed the Senate about this memorandum agreement with the Army. Senator Moran said, this is something you talked about, this agreement that 3-star generals and some lower-level officers will no longer be taking Army transport around the area, and they'll be limited to much more senior officers. Are you satisfied with how this agreement is going to look? Do you think you can safely re-integrate helicopters into the airspace, and can you address the changes around the there?
Well, I'll let the acting administrator address that first, and I'll come back later because he was actually in the meeting.
Thank you, sir. And thanks for the question. So right now, just so we're clear, the Army's not flying in that airspace. And they won't fly in that airspace until we are able to sit down, finalize that memorandum of agreement, and make sure that we are comfortable from a safety standpoint that they are ready to proceed. So right now they're not flying. We're not letting them fly until we fix that MOA. And at this time, I feel like we're in a good place with the Army. In terms of our communication, our collaboration, that's going well. But they won't be flying until certainly me and my team are satisfied, and we'll obviously confer and coordinate with the Secretary to make sure that we are all on the same page when we allow for a resumption of activities or operations.
I want to to ask, Allison Burstwell from Bloomberg News. I wanted to ask for a clarification on the 34 arrival rate. Did that take effect today, or was it earlier this week?
What was the
Last
date?
week when we
Last week, was it?
certified,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was last week upon certification. So the runway was completed, but the FAA had to certify that it was certify the runway. And so when that happened, and I think you did that early as well, that was supposed to take 9 to 10 days. I think you did it in 7 or 6? 6 days. So again, people are moving very quickly, again, always with the backdrop of safety, but moving quickly to make sure we can accommodate the traveling public and safely in spaces like Newark.
But the specific day when that higher rate kicked in was
When we finally certified the landing system there on the second runway. So
was that Friday? Last Friday, or?
I'll get you the specific date. It was a week ago. I believe it was Friday.
Okay.
The date was-
Some people are shaking their heads on the side here, so Friday, but we'll confirm that with you.
Ian Duncan with the Washington Post. So lawyers for Sam Salapur, who was a whistleblower from Boeing, who made some claims about manufacturing problems with the 787, they said today they've sent a letter to the FAA saying there's a completed and unreleased investigation that substantiates some of his claims about risk to the plane. Can you tell us what that investigation found, or if you're prepared to kind of release any of the findings?
Yeah, I'm not aware of the letter that was sent. I'm certainly happy to take a look at that and confer with our counsel to see what we know about it, but I haven't received a letter today.
And just on the Air India crash, I mean, you said you're prepared to mitigate any safety issues that you find. I take it that where we stand today, you haven't seen anything that would lead you to think the 787 fleet needs to be grounded or anything like that.
I'd start with it's so preliminary, and we've seen the video on the dramatic video of the tragic crash. We have assembled a team, an expert team, to work with the NTSB and with the Indian authorities to investigate that. My point earlier was, as we proceed down this road with the investigation itself, if there's any information that becomes available to us regarding any risk, we will mitigate those risks immediately.
Time for one more, guys.
So, meaning we don't keep that quiet. We don't, wait 2 years for a report to be released and then make safety changes. If there's a need for a change due to something that we learn on this crash, new information, we make those changes immediately because, again, safety is the top priority. Yes.
Just to put a finer point on that, there's nothing now that there's lots of people flying on 787s around the world right now.
Absolutely.
There's no indication.
No indication. Yeah, but we have no preliminary information. I just talked to Chair Hamidi from the NTSB today. We don't have that information yet. It's very new. Our teams are just going to deploy right now. As the acting administrator mentioned, we were invited to come over by India. They're good partners of ours. We work together really well. So they have to get on the ground and take a look. But again, right now it would be way too premature. Again, people are looking at videos and trying to assess what happened, which is never a strong, smart way to make decisions on what took place. One more.
Just back to the budget discussion. So, obviously with the bill now in the Senate being quite different than it was when the House skipped, and then we'll go back to the House for additional reconciliation, and kind of curious for your appetite if they do end up adding another plus up, sort of your confidence level on the House also potentially agreeing to match that in the final bill.
So the House has been fantastic. They have worked very closely with us. Chairman Graves fully understands what we're dealing with, and by the way, has seen the problems of the past on the lack of deliverables from a lot of money spent during Next Gen. And what we've talked through with him, what we've briefed him on, with his own ideas on what we should do, we are on the same page that this is the moment in time, and the infrastructure around air traffic control is such that we have to do it now. And so he gave us actually all the money that he could, which was the $12.5 billion. That was then matched in the Senate. But I do think there's some other resources the Senate can find, and that's why we're having that conversation with them. We had one today, and we're going to have that in the coming days. They want some more information from us. The Senate, like they do, they're pressure testing our numbers, and they should. But I'm grateful for the engagement they've had with us but also I'm very hopeful that they'll find more dollars to assist. But I want to be really clear that if the big beautiful bill doesn't pass, we can't start anything. And you've seen I've talked about the telecom issues, the copper wires. We have a full funding in the big beautiful bill that's going to rebuild our telecom throughout the country, and we're going to get rid of the 1970s radar and get brand new radar in place. That is critical. This other part, really critical as well, and I think we're going to get those dollars too. But none of this begins unless the big beautiful bill passes. And I know I get the House and the Senate, and they're all working finer points, and they're working together. I just hope they come to a resolution because from our vantage point, this is really important that we don't wait for some other vehicle that might come a year from now. We have a vehicle right now, today, to begin the process of building an airspace and an air traffic control system that the American people can be proud of. That I don't know about you, I get delayed all the time, I think. Maybe the FAA delays me on purpose, I don't know. All my flights are delayed, and that shouldn't be our case. We want to have our flights fly on time unless there's a weather or a mechanical issue. So let's get back to a place where the system is the best in the world. With that, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.